have the pleasure of chatting to Mr. Nico Kleynhans, and he always has so much insight as well to share with us. This morning, he's chatting about going back to school. That's coming up next.
It's time for Nico Kleynhans, exclusively on Breakfast with Friends.
Good morning, Mr. Nico. Welcome.
Hi. When I left high school, I felt a sense of relief. I was free.
Okay.
I hated high school. I don't know why, I just hated high school. And when I started at university, it was good that I had no uniform.
Mm-hmm.
It was good that there was no roll call in classes.
Yeah, that's the
and
best.
It was good that the lecturers treated us with a little more respect than I felt high school treated us. And I enjoyed the exams, except of course in my second year, while we were writing exams, somebody entered the back of the hall, stole a couple of briefcases, and my law notes were amongst those, and it meant that I couldn't finish my law exam. And because of that, the university granted us a concession, those of us who'd had our notes stolen, and we were then allowed to write at the start of the new term, which meant holidays were spent studying and recreating your notes.
Oh my God.
And when it came to my postgraduate work, that was a 9-hour open book exam, which was a new kind of experience for me. And it was written over 2 days, and because it was open book, some people brought literally wheelbarrows full of books. But if you then used those books, you were not going to be able to finish the exam anyway. 9 hours was not enough. And the other day, I attended a seminar. Now, with my particular career, I have to go to regular seminars, and that's another kind of going to school. And I've got to attend 35 hours of these seminars, and a lot of them have not only educational content, but they also have an exam that comes at some point. And the first one, the theme of that seminar, was to look at what President Trump is doing and focusing on why he focuses on chaos. Now, people may say that's politics. What has that got to do with finance? Well, we need to understand why he's doing that, because it's going to affect your pocket. It's going to affect our economy. And if those of us who specialize in investments, if we don't understand his strategy, we are going to panic at the wrong moment in time. So it's important that we have analysts who do the studies, talk to us, and give us time to debate the issue so that we can get financial planning sorted out. But in spite of that, he of course will lose the economic war. His strategy is just all wrong. And then we also looked at this last seminar on why China and India have suddenly got buddies with South Korea and Japan. Because 2 weeks ago, they didn't even want to attend the same conference. But now, because of what Trump is doing, they suddenly got together and they're friends. And that also is going to affect how the stock exchanges are going to perform. It's going to affect how the labor figures are within the United States. It's going to affect the labor figures within Europe. It's going to affect the labor figures within Asia. And that ultimately is going to affect your pocket if you're investing outside of South Africa. So it's important that we know that if we're going to guide you correctly. Now, the other issue comes back to South Africa. Now, the problem with our country that bugs me the most is we have a first world tax regulation. And we pay tax as if we're living in a first world. But government takes that and then gives us a third world experience. So we're sitting with taxes that are supposed to be sufficient to fund infrastructure, but then they don't put the infrastructure in place because it gets wasted. And because government is so up to its neck in debt, all of our taxes are going to fund debt. rather than to provide us with the kind of experience that we need. So again, when we're looking at your investments, we've got to say, what are the tax implications? When we're looking at your retirement, what are the tax implications? What kind of investments are going to be more tax efficient for your situation, so that you don't end up just solving SARS's problems rather than your own. And then, although we have a shrinking JSE, our JSE is actually very efficient. Because if you looked at the figure for yesterday, the JSE has grown by nearly 26% over the past year. Now, that's a lot better than most other countries in the world. That tells us that the companies that are on the JSE are efficient. It also tells us that they have a lot of surplus money, which they are not investing in the South African economy. And if government can just become a little more investor friendly, that money will be released. But government policy has to change. And so there the debate for those of us who do work with government is to say you need to become more investor friendly, not just say that, but your actions need to get those billions of rand that are there released so that the infrastructure development can happen. You talk about it, but you're not putting in place what needs to be placed. Now, what has this got to do with you as a particular person, as a particular investor? Well, I'm actually talking about education. That's what I'm talking about. So if you are sitting at home and you're getting frustrated in your job, my obvious comment to you is, what are you doing about developing your career? What have you done about changing your level of education, your skill level? If you've been debating about going to get that extra qualification for the last 10 years, why? Why have you been debating about it for 10 years? And if you don't do something about it, are you hoping that one day you're going to wake up and there are going to be pink bubbles coming from heaven that's going to encourage you and just hand you the diploma that you need? No, it's not going to happen. So folks, the thing that is important that we need to understand, education is a key, and often it can make a difference. It can help our businesses grow because we will learn new skills and make the changes that we can. So put on that symbolic uniform and let's go back to school. Have a good day.
I love that. Thank you, Mr. Nico. Let's go back to school. Education definitely is key. So on point for that. If you would like to speak to Mr. Nico and get more information and more advice, you can simply send an email to questions@northwood.co.za. As always, Mr. Nico, thank you for your time.
Sure. Thank you.